Creating a D&D campaign can be a challenge. Where do you start? What do you need to have in it? How do I plan for it all? Here are some tips for creating an engaging campaign that your players will be talking about for years. Develop a compelling story for your D&D campaign. The key to an unforgettable Dungeons & Dragons campaign lies in one essential element: crafting a compelling story. Your players crave an epic tale full of twists and turns and memorable characters that breathe life into your world. So how do you create such an epic story? I like to start with a what-if question. What if a god decided she wanted to take over the material plane? What if a powerful lich had taken over Waterdeep and is working to bring all of Faerun under his rule? What horrible catastrophe or event are the adventurers working to stop? This should be a very large event that has taken a long time to prepare and takes a long time to execute, so the players have time to stop it and level up so they can beat the big bad evil guy at the end. With this event being the end, what steps or events happen along the way that lead up to the end? Create a story with several touchstone events that lead up to the final event. I like to change the events I had planned to reflect the actions of the players along the way. For example, my campaign was to have 3 death knights at the end, but the players managed to kill one, so it only had 2 at the end. Build a D&D world to explore. For a successful campaign, be sure to build a rich world that breathes life in the adventure. Characters should feel like they belong to a living, breathing realm, each with its own stories, conflicts, and secrets. So how do you create a world like that? I kind of think of the world like a video game where the scenery, environment spawns as the characters arrive, but doesn't have the lag that loads like some games. That market the character wanders into existed before they walked into it, but what the character sees and experiences loads as needed. I don't have to plan for every little thing before they get there, but I need some ideas for NPCs, their names, and what the store might have available ready, so when they go to the store and they meet Amresh, the gnome shopkeeper who sells vegetables as well as some interesting potions hidden away under his cart. The goal is to fill in as much detail the player needs to make them feel like it's a real place. I have ideas on key items at key places that I want the players to discover planned, but I adapt it to what the player does, so I don't have to plan the entire market, but just the broad strokes and fill in the details as needed. Make your players feel invested in the story by incorporating their characters' backstories when possible. Now, I can hear a lot of dungeon masters groaning at the thought of a player coming to the table with a 34-page backstory. It is great that the player is that much into their character, but I want to know just a few basic things about their character so I can weave them into the world we will be playing in. I want to know anything about their past that haunts them or is hindering them. Anything they're looking for or running from. Is there some item that they're looking to find? Is there a character flaw I can maybe exploit, for example? I can tempt the bard who can't resist a pretty face with a beautiful barmaid that is hitting on him. All of these things are great to weave into the story so they come up and draw the player right in. Players perk up when they hear about a clue that will lead them to that Vorpal sword they've been looking for, or they hear word of someone who matches the description of the elven paladin's missing sister who's been running through the forest and she's been chased by a group of armed men. Make your D&D campaign player-driven. Empower your players to shape the narrative. Let their choices influence the course of the campaign. This makes for a more dynamic, living, breathing environment rather than feeling like the characters are on an amusement ride that is to be experienced. It's not just your world, it's theirs. Encourage collaboration and let their creativity fuel the unfolding saga. What makes tabletop role-playing games so different than anything else is that no one can expect what the players are going to come up with. This unpredictability fuels the game with excitement and makes it so enjoyable. The best stories come from something crazy that one of the characters did that either succeeded against all odds or failed miserably, and it was awesome. Embrace it and just roll with it. Be flexible and ready to pivot and make changes where the game is headed. If you need them to complete an event or discover something that moves the story on, you can nudge them back into the story and are on track at a later time by baiting them with a clue from an NPC or moving that item that they were supposed to discover and somewhere else, and they don't know where it was originally. Balance your D&D campaign challenges. It's important to create a campaign that offers a mix of combat, mind-bending puzzles, and immersive roleplay. Keep your players engaged with a diverse range of challenges. Dungeons & Dragons isn't just about killing things and looting the body like it is in some video games and earlier editions of the game. This game is much more rich and has a lot of different experiences that make the game exciting. While it isn't the only thing, combat is very much a part of the game, and part of the excitement is that it can come anytime and not just from monsters, but negotiations that went bad. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or as a result of bad character choices. Negotiations themselves can be tense sometimes and the stakes are really high. One wrong word or turn of a phrase can result in disaster. Puzzles and traps are a great way to add challenge to a game. Add in a puzzle to get into a door or entryway, and now the wittier characters get their moment to shine. Getting out of a deadly trap provides a great way for characters to work together to survive. Balance comes in using a mix of these challenges and not relying too heavily on one. Add some atmosphere to your campaign with ambient music, lighting, detailed descriptions, and manipulatives. When describing what the character sees, envelop your players in the world by painting a vivid picture of the sights, sounds, and smells that surround them. Use ambient music and sound effects to enhance the mood. Whether it's the echoes of a mysterious cavern or the bustling streets of a bustling city. Let the atmosphere become a character in itself. You can find lots of ambient soundtracks on YouTube or use something like Sirenscape. If your campaign involves some creepy scenes, you can use lighting to help the players feel what their characters are feeling. Dim the lights or use candles to make their real environment a little spookier. Just be careful not to burn the house down for real. Maybe use some battery-operated candles. One cool way to enhance the atmosphere of the game is to provide manipulatives, actual real-world creations that make the scene more real. If the character is handed a map, give them a map. If someone finds a scroll, give them a scroll. You can get more creative and give them bottles that represent healing potions, or even hand them real-life locks if they're supposed to pick a lock. You can get some really cool ones on Temu, AliExpress, or Amazon. Be sure to make the rewards and consequences change in your campaign. Tailor rewards to each player's character and personal goals. Make the loot meaningful, unique, and directly tied to their journey. A magical item or a newfound ability can spark excitement like nothing else. Whether it's forging alliances, making enemies, or altering the course of the story, let your players see the ripple effects of their decisions. When the party rescues the town from a horrible invasion, maybe the appreciative townsfolk reward them with a patch of land or an entire keep, like Vox Machina did in Critical Role Campaign 1. A grateful dragon gifts a Holy Avenger sword to the paladin for his heroics in rescuing his mate. These are great ways to show the players that your choices often bring great and unexpected rewards. It makes sense that unexpected actions also have consequences. Killing an NPC, whether it was warranted or not, means they don't get the weapon they could have used to defeat the dragon. And most assuredly, burning down the town tavern will have some pretty stiff consequences, since the tavern was the only source of enjoyment that working class town had. Those people really don't like your party. Hopefully these tips can bring you the fun my group and I have experienced over the years. If you want more tips on all things Dungeons & Dragons and other tabletop role-playing games, be sure to follow the channel. Thanks for watching. Class dismissed.